All right, so this week we have quite a few books that are coming out. So I'm going to be a little bit briefer than normally, and I'm only going to be giving you the summary of these books instead of the author information and some key selling points, simply because there's 13 of these, and I don't want this video to last forever. If you are an author and you have a book that is coming out during the month of May, you can check out the link down below and apply. I am starting to pre-record these about a month ahead of time. So yeah, the book will need to be coming out in May if you want to be featured. But other than that, we're just going to go ahead and get into the books. Blood Debts by Terry J. Benton-Walker comes in at 416 pages and is the first book in the Blood Debts series and is pitched as young adult fiction, fantasy, contemporary. This contemporary fantasy debut is a conjuring of magnificence, says Nick Stone, with powerful magical families, intergenerational curses, and deadly drama in New Orleans. 30 years ago, a young woman was murdered, a family was lynched, and New Orleans saw the greatest magical massacre in its history. In the days that followed, a throne was stolen from a queen. On the anniversary of these brutal events, Clement and Christina Trudeau, the 16-year-old twin heirs to the powerful, magical, dethroned family, are mourning their father and caring for their sick mother until by chance they discover their mother isn't sick. She's cursed. Cursed by someone on the very magic council their family used to rule. Someone who will come for them next. Christina, once a talented and dedicated practitioner of generational magic, has given up on magic for good. An ancient spell is what killed their father, and she was the one who cast it. For Clement, magic is his lifeline, a distraction from his anger and pain, even better than the random guys he hooks up with. Christina and Clement used to be each other's most trusted confidant and friend. Now they barely speak, but if they have any hope of discovering who is coming after their family, they'll have to find a way to trust each other and their family's magic, all while solving the decades-old murder that sparked the still rising tensions between the city's magical and non-magical communities. And if they don't succeed, New Orleans may see another massacre, or worse. Camp Zero. This was one of the Book of the Month picks for April. So if you are interested in trying out Book of the Month, I do have an affiliate link down below. All it does is if you wind up signing up for the service, you get a cheaper price for your first book. And I get a special credit for an add-on book, which is awesome because I'm not getting any books this year unless they're free. So but anyway, yes, Camp Zero by Michelle Min Sterling comes in at 304 pages and is pitched as dystopian fiction, which is my favorite genre. Today's show, a Read with Jenna book club pick. In a near future northern settlement, the fates of a young woman, a professor, and a mysterious collective of researchers collide in this mesmerizing and transportive debut that delivers its big ideas with suspense, endlessly surprising twist, and abundant heart, says Jasmine Chan, New York Times bestselling author. In remote northern Canada, a team led by a visionary American architect is breaking ground on a building project called Camp Zero, intended to be the beginning of a new way of life. A clever and determined young woman, codenamed Rose, is offered a chance to join the Blooms, a group hired to entertain the men in the camp. But her real mission is to secretly monitor the mercurial architect in charge. In return, she'll receive a home for her climate-displaced Korean immigrant mother and herself. Rose quickly secures the trust of her target, only to discover that everyone has a hidden agenda and nothing is as it seems through skillfully braided perspectives, including those of a young professor longing to escape his wealthy family and an all-woman military research unit struggling for survival at a climate station. The fate of Camp Zero's inhabitants reaches a stunning crescendo. Atmospheric, fiercely original, and utterly gripping, Camp Zero is an electrifying page-turner and a masterful exploration of who and what will survive in a warming world, and how falling in love and building community can be the most daring acts of all. Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross comes in at 368 pages and is the first book in a new series called Letters of Enchantment. This one is pitched as young adult fiction, fantasy, romance. Shadow and Bone meets lore in this epic enemies to lovers fantasy novel filled with hope and heartbreak and the unparalleled power of love. When two young rival journalists find love through a magical connection, they must face the depths of hell in a war among gods to seal their fate forever. After centuries of sleep, the gods are warring again. But 18-year-old Iris Winnow just wants to hold her family together. Her mother is suffering from addiction, and her brother is missing from the front lines. Her best bet is to win the columnist promotion at the Oath Gazette. To combat her worries, Iris writes letters to her brother and slips them beneath the wardrobe door, where they vanish into the hands of Roman Kit, her cold and handsome rival at the paper. When he anonymously writes Iris back, the two of them forge a connection that will follow Iris all the way to the front lines of battle for her brother, the fate of mankind, and love. Hunt for Eden's Star by D.J. Williams comes in at 480 pages, and it is part of the Beacon Hill series, and it is pitched as young adult fiction, action, adventure. A coming-of-age teen is thrown into a world of ancient secrets when he discovers a supernatural artifact that protects a weapon of mass destruction. With the help of a diverse group of friends, he embarks on a global adventure seeking the truth about his sister's death and uncovers two clandestine supernatural societies waging an epic hidden war that threatens the future of civilization. D.J. Williams's suspenseful page-turning style whisks readers into a wildly exciting supernatural adventure that grabs hold of the imagination and never lets go. As Jack races to collect ancient artifacts critical to the survival of the world, readers are transported to incredible locales across Asia, including the lush jungles of the Philippines and the high-energy streets of Hong Kong. Themes of addiction, revenge, faith, and friendship emerge as Jack battles literal and psychological demons and even his own friends and family members on his quest to thwart the forces of evil. The Immeasurable Depth of You by Maria Ingrande Mora comes in at 352 pages and is pitched as young adult fiction, social themes, mental illness. In the devastating but uplifting tradition of Adam Silvera and Nova Ren Suma comes a queer coming-of-age story set against the backdrop of the Florida mangroves. How do you face your fears when everything is terrifying? 15-year-old Bryn can't stop thinking about death. Her intrusive thoughts and severe anxiety leave her feeling helpless and hopeless. So, after her mom interprets one of Bryn's blog posts as a suicide note, she takes extreme measures, confiscating Bryn's phone, blocking her internet access, and banishing her to stay with her father, who lives off the grid. On a houseboat in the Florida mangroves, isolated from her other friends, her only friends, Bryn resigns herself to a summer of mind-numbing boredom and loneliness until Skylar appears. Skylar is everything Bryn isn't, sultry, athletic, and confident. Yet Bryn feels at home around this fearless girl who pushes her to try new things and makes her belly flutter with nerves that have nothing to do with anxiety. When Bryn discovers that Skylar is trapped in the bayou and can't tell her why, she resolves to free her new crush from the dark waters, even if it means confronting all of her worst fears. Through Bryn's funny, awkward, and sincere narration, The Immeasurable Depth of You explores the way mental illness can impact a life by centering a character who is learning, sometimes messily, to accept all parts of herself. What I will add about this book is that I also had several months when I was a teenager where I was very, very scared of death, and it was like an intrusive thought every night. And so if I would think about it, my breath would become shallow and I would basically be having a mild panic attack. And so if this is the case for you where you're like scared of death, or rather just scared of the unknown, one thing that I would say that helped me, that that I kind of like had as a mantra that I told myself to get over this was the fact that I don't remember anything before I was born, and I was okay then, so I'll be okay in death. And for some reason, just that small little piece, eventually, repeating that to myself, like, I don't remember anything before I was born, so death will be like the same, um, was comforting to me. And so I was okay and didn't have that same intense anxiety around that subject matter. But it was really bad for at least like 3 or 4 months. Every night was a struggle to go to sleep because I was just having these mini panic attacks. Um, but yeah, so that definitely sounds interesting. The Last Heir to Blackwood Library by Hester Fox comes in at 320 pages and is pitched as Gothic fiction. A high concept Gothic novel about a mysterious library at the heart of a remote Yorkshire estate, the young woman who has inexplicably inherited it, and an enigmatic manuscript that holds the key to the unsettling events that have occurred since her arrival, destined to be Hester Fox's breakout novel, Don't Trust Anyone at Blackwood Abbey. Deep in the mist, brooding halls of Yorkshire lies a crumbling estate housed in a former abbey. When Ivy Radcliffe is named the heir to the mysterious family home, no one is more surprised than Ivy herself. She's never even heard of Blackwood Abbey, and there's one condition to her inheritance. She must live out the rest of her days at the remote abbey. Ivy, still aching over the loss of her brother in the Great War, that makes me think of the Taylor Swift song, and scrounging to make ends meet in post-war London, accepts. But Blackwood is strange, wrong somehow. The staff are barely civil, discouraged Ivy from exploring her new home, and are guarded and skittish when she asks questions about its peculiar history. Who was the mad monk whose legend swirls in low whispers around the village? Then she discovers the enormous library at the heart of the abbey, the library that everyone, seemingly deliberately, has kept secret from her. Despite cryptic warnings from Blackwood staff, Ivy is inexplicably drawn to the library, but the more time she spends there, the more unsettling things begin to happen. And, eerily, the more Ivy seems to forget. As the sinister forces at work slowly begin to reveal themselves, Ivy must uncover the secrets at the heart of Blackwood Library, or everything, Ivy herself, maybe even the world, will be changed forever. Never Vacation with You by Amalie Wibberley and Austin Siegemund-Broka is 336 pages and is pitched as young adult fiction romance contemporary. The Summer I Turned Pretty meets people we meet on vacation in a YA second chance romance where the rules for getting over an ex turn out to be more complicated than they seem. 17-year-old volleyball star Kaylee Jordan lives a life of player rankings, constant training, and a carefully curated social media full of followers watching to see if she'll go pro out of high school, like her famous mom. Her one refuge, and the thing she looks forward to every summer, the vacation her family spends in Malibu with the Freeman Yuss. This year, there's only one problem. Kaylee and their son Dean dated for the past 3 months, and Kaylee just unceremoniously dumped him. Hoping to spare them the worst summer ever, Kaylee comes to Dean with her unconventional solution. She's going to walk him through her rules for getting over an ex. When Dean grudgingly cooperates, Kaylee's got her work cut out for her, but helping Dean follow her own rules starts becoming difficult when the pressures of Kaylee's family legacy and perfect life start to feel less like a plan and more like a prison. And amid warm California nights and stolen laughs, Kaylee feels herself falling for Dean for the same reasons, and some new ones. With their trip coming to an end, Kaylee has to make the complicated choice between doing what's expected and taking a second chance on love. One for My Enemy by Olivie Blake comes in at 432 pages and is pitched as fiction, fantasy, contemporary. From New York Times bestselling author Olivie Blake comes an intricate web of love, magic, and rival witch families in New York City. In modern-day Manhattan, where we lay our scene, two rival witch families fight to maintain control of their respective criminal empires. On one side of the conflict are the Antonova sisters, each each one beautiful, cunning, and ruthless, and their mother the elusive supplier of premium intoxicants known as Baba Yaga. On the other side, the influential Fedorov brothers serve their father, the crime boss, known as Koschy the Deathless, whose community extortion ventures dominate the shadows of magical Manhattan. After 12 years of tenuous coexistence, a change in one family's interest causes a rift in the existing stalemate. When bad blood brings both families to the precipice of disaster, fate intervenes with a chance encounter, and in the aftershocks of a resurrected conflict, everyone must choose a side. As each of the siblings struggle to stake their claim, fraying loyalties threaten to rot each side from the inside out. If, that is, the enmity between empires doesn't destroy them first. Queen Bee by Amalie Howard comes in at 368 pages and is pitched as young adult fiction, romance, multicultural, and interracial. A teen girl seeking retribution against her backstabbing former best friend finds her plan slightly derailed when she catches the eye of a familiar, handsome Marquess. Best-selling author Amalie Howard delivers a delightful, anti-historical Regency-era romp. That's Bridgerton meets the Count of Monte Cristo. Lady Ella Dalvey knows the exact moment her life was forever changed, when her best friend Poppy betrayed her without qualm over a boy, the son of a duke. She was sent away in disgrace, her reputation ruined. Nearly 3 years later, 18-year-old Ella is consumed with bitterness and a desire for revenge. Her enemy is quickly joining the creme de la crop. The creme de la creme of high society, while she withers away in the English countryside. With an audacious plan to get even, Ella disguises herself as a mysterious heiress and infiltrates London's elite. But when Ella reunites with the only boy she's ever loved, she begins to question whether vengeance is still her greatest desire. In this complicated game of real-life chess, Ella must choose her next move, finally bring down the queen or capture the king's heart. Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken comes in at 496 pages and is pitched as young adult fiction, legends, myths, fables, Arthurian. #1 New York Times bestselling author Alexandra Bracken cements her status as one of the top fantasy authors writing today in this stunning series opener inspired by Arthurian legend and fueled by love, revenge, and pure adrenaline. This is the first book in the Silver in the Bone series. Tamsin Lark didn't ask to be a hollower. As a mortal with no magical talent, she was never meant to break into ancient crypts or compete with sorceresses and cunning folk for the treasures inside. But after her thieving foster father disappeared without so much as a goodbye, it was the only way to keep herself and her brother, Cable, alive. 10 years later, rumors are swirling that her guardian vanished with a powerful ring from Arthurian legend. A run-in with her rival Imry's ignites Tamsin's hope that the ring could free Campbell from a curse that threatens both of them. But they aren't the only ones who covet the ring. As word spreads, greedy hollowers start circling, and many would kill to have it for themselves. While Emery's is the last person Tamsin would choose to partner with, she needs all the help she can get to edge out her competitors in the race for the ring. Together, they dive headfirst into a viper's nest of dark magic, exposing a deadly secret with the power to awaken ghosts of the past and shatter her last hope of saving her brother. So, yeah. Amir or whatever the guy's name, it stands for king. So I wonder if we'll find out he's like a secret royal. Because I do that sometimes. I use name meanings to hint at big twist, and I feel like this might be a twist where Amir is going to like become a king. I don't actually know this. That's just literally me from the name. I have not read this book. Yeah. Spellbound by F.T. Lukens comes in at 336 pages and is pitched as young adult fiction, fantasy, wizards, and witches. Two rival apprentice sorcerers must team up to save their teachers and protect their own magic in this lively young adult romantic adventure from the New York Times bestselling author of In Deeper Waters and So This Is Ever After. Edison Rooker isn't sure what to expect when he enters the office of Antonia Hex, the powerful sorceress who runs a call center for magical emergencies. He doesn't have much experience with hexes or curses. Heck, he doesn't even have magic, but he does have a plan to regain the access to the magical world he lost when his grandmother passed. Antonia is intimidating, but she gives him a job and a new name, Rook, both of which he's happy to accept. Now all Rook has to do is keep his spellbinder, an illegal magical detection device, hidden from the magical consortium, and contend with Sun, the grumpy and annoyingly cute apprentice at Antonia's rival annoyingly cute apprentice to Antonia's rival colleague, Fable. But dealing with competition isn't so bad, as Sun seems to pop up more and more. Rook minds less and less. But when the consortium gets wind of Rook's spellbinder, they come for Antonia. All alone, Rook runs to the only other magical person he knows, Sun, except Fable has also been attacked, and now Rook and Sun have no choice but to work together to get their mentors back, or face losing their magic forever. Tell Me What Really Happened by Chelsea Sedoti comes in at 416 pages and is pitched as young adult fiction, thrillers, and suspense. Now, I will say that I read Chelsea Sedoti's debut novel, The 100 Lies of Lizzie Lovett, and to this day, I would say that it has the best character voice ever. It was so unique, and I just absolutely loved it. So I have very high hopes for Tell Me What Really Happens, because I just think that Chelsea Sedoti does character voice like no other. But anyway, let's talk about this story. There are stories about the woods around Salvation Creek, about the people who have gone missing. Now their friend is one of them. It was all her idea. They would get away from their parents and spend the weekend camping. Down by Salvation Creek, the five of them would make s'mores, steal kisses, share secrets. But sometime around midnight, she vanished. Now the four friends who came back are under suspicion, and they even have a very different story to tell about what happened in the woods. The clock is ticking. What are they hiding? Who is lying? Dark truths must come to light if their friend is to be found. Told entirely through first-person police interviews, this riveting YA mystery asks what really happened that night. Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson comes in at 384 pages and is pitched as fiction fantasy epic. #1 New York Times bestselling author Brandon Sanderson brings us deeper into the Cosmere universe with a standalone adventure that will appeal to fans of The Princess Bride. The only life Tress has known on her island home in the emerald green ocean has been a simple one, with the simple pleasures of collecting cups brought by sailors from faraway lands and listening to stories told by her friend Charlie. But when his father takes him on a voyage to find a bride and disaster strikes, Tress must stow away on a ship and seek the sorceress of the deadly midnight sea amid the spore oceans where pirates abound. Can Tress leave her simple life behind and make her own place sailing a sea where a single drop of water can mean instant death? And there you have it. Those are the 13 books that got on my radar that seemed interesting, and the blurbs confirmed that the covers and the titles were right because they all sound interesting. Why do we only live for like less than 100 years? That doesn't give us enough time to read everything. But anyway, those are all of the books that I wanted to talk to you about this week. Again, if you're an author, want to be featured, and your book comes out in May, go ahead and fill out that form down below. If I forget to put the link for the form, just check out one of the previous On My Radar videos, and it will be there. But otherwise, I will see you all later. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.